We're back at Prison Professor with George Manlove, who's been so gracious to give us 5 episodes about what it's like to have been a CEO who's gone through every stage in the journey so far, starting with being indicted, hiring a criminal defense attorney, finding himself convicted and having to face a prison sentence of 60 months, preparing for that 60-month journey. And now we're going to listen and learn a little bit about how George really started to rebuild with an entirely new career. George, tell us about that career and how you discovered it.
Well, right after the civil trial when it was resolved, that was in settlement conference. It did not go to trial. My wife and I decided to go to Spain and hike the Camino de Santiago, which is an old 1,000-year-old pilgrimage, because we wanted to reinvent ourselves. And when we got back to the States, one day all of a sudden I just had this thought that I should, I love photography, but I've never really been a photographer, and I've had a camera in my hand most of my life, but nothing that was serious. And I talked to my wife and I said, I can do this. And I don't know if it's God is giving me this opportunity to create a distraction in my life that will bring some peace to me throughout this ordeal. But so I pursued, I bought some camera gear, and then I started taking pictures of national parks, and I developed a great portfolio and ended up doing lots of exhibitions and had a great website. And one of my images was recognized by Google. They must have an algorithm that looks for items that have lots of activity on them, engagement. And I think today it's I haven't checked lately, but it's had Google put it on all of their media, a background image in all their media platforms. And here I am. I've only been at it for 12 months, 6 months, 12 months, and Google's already picked up one of my images. And today I think it's received over 2.5 billion, if not even higher, page views.
2.5 billion for an amateur photographer is just really extraordinary. And I think that people will really see how extraordinary they are when they visit georgemanlove.com, where I'm sure you're going to feature all those images. Is that right?
Yeah, there's a lot of image. I've integrated a lot of my images throughout the site to add some interest to it, and hopefully it brings some color and some interest that people will enjoy.
Well, while you're in the prison camp, you may not have an opportunity to practice those photography skills to the extent that you've been enjoying over the past couple of years, but you will have an opportunity to take pictures. And I know that you will be using those pictures to populate your website in the future. My question is, do you have any questions as you are getting ready to surrender to the federal prison camp in Sheridan, Oregon? Do you have any questions about what it's going to be like?
Well, I've done a lot of reading, obviously, in a lot of books that I've read and online articles and so on. And there's a lot of differences of opinion out there, but some of the things that still linger is, number one, when I surrender, what can I have with me? Can I bring a pair of tennis shoes? Can I bring some medications? Can I bring my Bible? Can I bring a journal, a blank journal, or a pen? Just things like that. And then how do I get money into my commissary account? And what's my first day going to be like? And
well, those are some good questions. You said that you've done a lot of research. Did you get some answers from that research? Or are they conflicting?
There's a lot of conflicting opinions. So
let me tell you why.
Well, for example, I've read stories about people being able to bring 2 pair of eyeglasses and a pair of readers and a pair of white tennis shoes and a Bible and their medications for a month. And then I've read that you can't bring anything. And I believe where I'm going, you can't bring anything. And that was a surprise to me, because in their handbook, they said you can bring things, like your Bible.
You can bring things, okay? There are some things that you can bring, and there are policy statements that govern that.
Okay.
At the same time that those policy statements, there's also human beings that are interpreting those policies.
I see.
The safest bet is to say, I'm going to expect nothing but obstruction through my entire journey in the prison system. And that way you don't get disappointed. That said, I'll tell you what the policy states. You can wear a wedding ring that is you're valuing at less than $100 in value. So no stones. Wedding ring you can bring. Eyeglasses you can bring, and you can bring 2 pairs if they're prescription eyeglasses. If you've got prescription sunglasses, bring those as well. And of course, we detail all of this on the website, and you and I can have some off-the-air discussions on that.
Okay, that'd be great.
With regard to a Bible, you can absolutely bring a Bible. It's one of the only books that you can bring is a religious book. You could even bring a religious medal, or if you're from a different faith and you've got to bring some other type of religious artifact, you can bring that with you as well. All of this is governed by Bureau of Prisons policies. And you can access those policies by visiting bop.gov and looking under the program statements and seeing what they say. Here's the big complexity and the big confusion, George. There's a Bureau of Prisons policy, and then there are program statements for every institution. So every institution has its own CEO, and that's the warden. The warden can determine how he is going to interpret policy. And then the warden's subordinates, including associate wardens, executive staff, other people are going to have their own interpretations. And then there's going to be the actual guard you're sitting across from when you surrender, or officer. That person may be having a good day, and he'll allow you to wear your Timex watch with you. Another person will say, well, policy says you can't bring anything with you, so don't. The reality is there's nothing that you have that you really value that's going to move the needle for you in adjusting in prison. You know, that's just the reality. You can bring a pair of tennis shoes with you, just expect that you're going to meet a guy that's going to reject them. You can bring a pair of shorts with you or athletic gear. Maybe you find a person who's going to let you come in with it. But 95, 96% chance, you're not going to get in. And there's a reason for it. So just try to understand it from the perspective of the staff. They are hypersensitive to contraband. They don't want anything getting into that prison that they didn't authorize through the prison commissary. So you're going to be able to buy tennis shoes. You're going to be able to buy glasses. You're going to be able to buy different things inside of the commissary, but then they've controlled what's in that institution. Anything that's outside of that scope, they're going to consider contraband anyway, and some other officer can confiscate it for you. So it's just easiest, I think, to say, I want to go through this journey without any problems. I'll just buy my stuff when I get in there. But I want to have a more in-depth conversation with you as you get a little bit closer to the date. More importantly is that you sit yourself up so that you've got some financial resources while you're in there, that you can buy tennis shoes, you can buy the things, but definitely you're going to want to bring your prescription glasses. Definitely you're going to want to bring your own Bible. Medication, if you've got medication, you're going to want to bring that medication with a note from your doctor. Hopefully it's well documented and you've checked out the formulary on the BOP website to make sure that you can use that medication. Mm-hmm. If you have any challenges, you're going to want to know how to respond to the staff. And that's just very simply, if you bring medication in and the staff chooses to say you can't bring that in, say, would you just do me the good deed of letting your medical officer or holding it until the medical doctor takes a look at it and assesses it. But there are steps that you can take to get a higher level of comfort. And I hope to be able to provide that guidance for you so that you have more confidence on your first day in there. But I can tell you one thing, George, you know what it is?
What?
The worst part is already behind you.
I'm sensing that. I really am.
It's that fear of the unknown. It is that fear of not knowing what the judge is going to do, what the jury is going to do, what the prosecutor is going to do, where they're going to sentence me. You've got finality in your life right now.
Mm-hmm. I agree.
And you can start building. Now that you've got that finality, you can start building. And I'm so glad that I've had an opportunity to get to know you as a friend and to learn from you. And I'm so glad that you've given other people this opportunity to listen and learn from you through these 5 videos that we've made together. And I hope they will continue listening and learning from your journey at georgemanlove.com. I will certainly be posting links to everything that you write.
Thank you.
So are there any other questions you have about surrendering to the camp or what's coming?
Well, I've read a lot about the prison hustle.
The underground economy. It's alive and well in every prison. And it's going to make things a little bit easier for you. And we'll talk a little bit about how to avoid getting into complications that can surface with that, the prison environment. We'll talk about that again. And I'd like to do another couple of videos for you when I get back. I've got to travel tomorrow. I'll be back next week, and I hope we can continue this series because I know there's a lot more to cover. But I just wanted to throw up these first 5 so that people can get an idea of what's coming at georgemanlove.com.
Thank you, Michael.
Thank you.